Okay, so we've started the youth dry tooling round here. We'll get some competitor information in for you in just a moment. This is going to be the under...
American climber, Catalina, I believe.
This is the under 16-year-old age group, I believe. Yes, this is Kate Seymour from the U.S., number 67, climbing right now. So this route is a partially dry tooling and partially there on the ice, it looks like. She's making some nice deliberate moves. She's going to go in. Let's see what she decides to do here for the next move. She's struggling a bit here, trying to figure out how to grab that next hold there with her pick. Switching her feet up, seeing if she can get a little bit of a better placement there before she goes in. All right, looks like she's made the decision, making the move here.
Nice Stein pull on the route. Trying to get the right angle so she can shift her weight and get her toes out to the left.
You can tell she's definitely thinking through all these moves before she makes them. This is where you can really see the difference from the speed climbing rounds that we've been watching.
Trying to figure out how she can hook that. Might be that she needs to lean out much further to the left so that she can hook it. Similar to that. Yes, excellent. Big reach. Great job. Going to match and switch hands.
And so we're here in the qualifying rounds now for the women's lead. This is the under 16 age category.
Needs to hook that. Find a proper...
And it can be a little bit hard to tell from the video, but these placement holds are quite small. That you just set.
She needs to find out. Oh.
She wasn't able to make that placement with the right hand, ended up slipping there.
That's right.
It can be really tough to find that balance point for the end of your pick there on the hold.
Especially with some of those are so slim that to get the tip of your pick onto the hold, any twist, any rotation of your pick can pop it out. So sometimes you might need to slot your blade into that hold, not pushing into the wall, but sliding alongside of the wall, as you can see. It might be. We'll see how others take the route.
I believe next climber is Elisaveta Smerdova, if I heard correctly. Let's check here once we can see her bib number in just a moment as she takes off her jacket. It's a boy. Switch page. Excuse me, we have a boy climbing now, Elias. So he just started ice climbing last fall here in Oulu, actually. So pretty exciting for him, I'm sure, to be here competing.
Yes, this is Elias Rintamäki.
Okay.
Bib number 15.
Yep. Yeah, so the women and men's here are going kind of consecutively. The women are climbing here on the right side of the tower. The men are on the left side. Sorry for the mix-up on the names here. So Elias is about to start his route here on the left side of the tower. And again, we're just on the back side of where they were doing the speed climbing.
Elias makes his way up.
So he's getting
onto
here.
the route.
Yep, getting off of the ice and onto the route here.
It might be that we don't have a great angle to watch.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get another camera over there in the back once they realize.
Looks like he's got a Steinhold on his left hand. Going to match on it, and that was it.
So we couldn't quite see the details of that slip there from here, but slipped off the
These
route.
routes get progressively harder as you ascend the tower. Each move getting slightly harder than the last is the intention of the route and the route setter. Oh, and there the slip was on the replay.
So we should have our next competitor here getting roped in pretty soon. Okay, so next up we have Elisaveta Smerdova of Russia, number 2. So we're back to the women's side here.
We'll see. She did well in the speed climbing. We'll see how she does on this hook. Going to match on her tool, switch hands, and go for the next reach. And then she will switch onto the ice. She knows she wants to cross with her arms so that she can make the next move to the ice easily with her right hand. It's going to pay off. She can plant her toes well enough. Seems that she's having some trouble.
And a slip with that left hand.
And
Let's see if she can recover from that.
she's got to shake out that pump. She's starting to get tired. That's okay. She might be able to match on this hold and get onto the ice. Should be able to.
Trying to go ahead and kick that foot into the ice from there to
That's right.
make that transition. It's a little too far though.
Really contemplating whether she can hold her weight onto that.
And these are
how
those
she's
moments
going
that
to
you start to
shift.
burn your arm out,
That's right.
contemplating how to make the next move.
She can do it.
All right, matching on that hold now. Let's see if she can make that reach over.
She might need to choke up on her tool. There. Oh, and a
The
slip.
from there.
Quite small holds. That's the same style, or possibly even the same hold as where Kate lost her balance or came off as a route much higher up.
Right. She had made it a bit further up, but
quite delicate holds. Will be interesting to see what exists for the adults routes.
so we have Gleb Kanab of Russia that's going to be climbing next. So he has the second place in lead in the Russian Youth Championship from this year. So we'll be expecting some big moves from him here. Let's see how he finds this route. It will be interesting to see someone that has some experience and has a title and how they do with this route. So he's getting tied into his rope here and will be starting his climb shortly. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we're going to have a better camera angle for the men's qualification round. When the men start their lead, though, we should have a better camera angle here. So I'm not sure if you all, or if we'll be able to get any like quick pans from the other side, but we at least aren't going to have a camera on the other side of the tower during this qualification round.
Okay.
He went very quickly there for that start.
No reason to waste any time.
All right, get straight on the wall, get off the ice. Start making those moves.
Oh, we'll see. Matching on his tool. He's got a good hook on the side that we can see, trying to plant his foot into the volume. Another hook. Big move. Matching on his tool, grip up.
Mm-hmm. Using that second handle to make his way up without having to make another move.
Pretty common technique, you'll see. And a Stein pull, jamming that blade into the bottom and resting on the head of the tool. Standing up and showing some confidence.
Making his way up for sure.
Great job. It's a small lip to get a bit of an underpull, a bit of a Stein.
You can see he's really thinking there about what his next move is going to be.
It's an interesting move. It's not quite a Stein pull to place the head onto the head of the tool to the wall and get that torque, but he certainly still has to use it to pull himself in. Big hook and a little bit of a slip. We'll see. That position he's got with his left arm is going to burn him out pretty quick. He's got to...
He had a little bit of a slip there too, so
Yep.
Let's see if he can...
Got to rest. Got to get that full extension. Was not quite a full lock. He's trying to... There we go. Better angle on his arm. Starting to get a little bit more strenuous. Can't quite figure out how to place that tool.
And we were just informed that we're actually going to be getting a better angle here shortly for the competition.
Excellent.
So next climbers will be able to see a bit
Just
better.
trying to rest and lay back into that move. There we go. If that slips at this point, he's got to figure out how he's going to move up on that. He's already choked up on the tool.
There you go.
He's got to move out to the left.
Looks like he made, yep, a good stable hold there,
Looks like
though.
he's steady now, yeah. Looks like he's getting good rest into his shoulders. Oh, and he pops off, and there it goes.
But great effort, great climb. And
Great climbing from Gleb Kanab.
certainly. You could tell there was a lot of thinking and solid placements made there.
Checking himself. He might be a little bit disappointed.
Probably also quite pumped in the arms.
That's right. Just a little bit shocked. Sometimes coming off that wall can be a lot, and it's certainly a fight.
Here we have a little bit of a slightly better angle here to see some of the moves he was making. Really great climb, though.
In a climb like this, you certainly don't want to just give up at any point, so you go in with the expectation that you're going to fall.
And now we have already on the screen Daria Glatova of Russia.
Looking strong so far. When you come into a competition like this and you know that your route is either going to end in a finish, which is incredible, or more likely a fall, you've got to accept that it's going to happen. And with tools and crampons, it can be a bit of a shock.
I believe that this is actually Paulina Bratukina climbing. It looks like a number 5 there on her
That's
bib.
right.
So it was not who I thought it was.
Bit hard to read the bib. Got a good hold on that ice. It's a deep one, so I don't think anyone should have any problems in those three moves she's got there.
She's doing great, progressing right through that sequence. And Daria Glatova tells us that, this is Paulina Bratukina, tells us that she is just a beginner ice climber. So I'm sure she's stoked to be here and getting a new experience under her belt. And I believe this is her first competition. So doing a really great job there. She didn't seem to struggle at all there at the lower section where the previous two girls have
had issues.
Yeah, she's moving right through these with no problem.
She's got one more.
She's making great stable
ice.
foot placements, which I think are really helping her.
Bit small, which is fine.
If you can figure out how to use it.
Excellent. Shifting her weight
Right.
out, she knows she's got to get out to the left.
Yeah.
Both of those moves require a pull to the left and down. She likely needs to shift her weight out to the left even further, unless she can get that hooked right under. Yep. Doing a great job getting around that corner. Pretty impressive.
Good. Oh,
And she's
nice
got a
recovery.
hold.
She just had that hold on with her left hand. You could see her right arm was starting to shake, having it in that not quite a full full lock.
Oh, and there she goes, falling off the route. She did an excellent job. She fell at roughly the same spot as before with that small piece. Right where the overhang meets the wall.
All right, great job from her. Let's...
Job,
Maybe
Paulina.
I'm wondering if she's just feeling a little bit of a, as we were saying earlier, maybe the stress of popping off the wall, being a little bit shocked by that. I'm sure she's proud of herself. It's a great climb, great effort, really good moves there. She made it through that route very quickly, up to the point that she did. So next up we will have a male competitor here. Let's see. The speed route points are taken into account when making the rankings here. So our order is a little bit mixed up. So next, male climber is getting tied in right now, and let's wait and see what number he has. I believe this might be Timofey Lushnikov of Russia, number 9. Yes.
We will see how Timofey climbs and performs today. Dry tooling. Each of the climbers has been exposed to the route for 10 minutes today. So they've got 10 minutes to read and come up with as much beta or information on the climb as they can.
Yes, and so actually these under 16 groups started their route preview during the finals of the last speed competition. That's why we were able to move into this so quickly. They had their 10-minute preview there during the finals. Oh, here we go. We have a little bit of a better view of what kind of holds we're dealing with.
Using his hand. Creative, but not disallowed. No reason. A little bit messy with the axis, but
So I assume he has some strong rock climbing base here to make the decision to opt for the hands
That's
versus
right.
the ice tools.
And in some ways that really can give you an advantage. Using these tools, if you haven't done it before, is quite can be quite a challenge, not only to handle and make sure that you are controlling them and putting them into place effectively, but putting them onto these holds can be quite strenuous, as you need to keep the tool at a certain angle the entire time that you're climbing. So many sports say that you need to use whatever tool you have as an extension of your body, and this is truly another example of that. Although Timofey seems to not want to use these extensions too much. Although he's making great progress.
Yeah, I'm really interested here to get a better view of the spot where our last climber slipped off. And also to see whether we're going to have the hands or the tools. Yeah, where Gleb slipped off, I think we're quite close to that spot now. It must have been just here on the next hold, I believe.
It seems like it.
a little bit hard to tell from
He
the
seems
view
to
that
be
we have.
quite a strong climber. Still. I can imagine that the large use of hands, I don't know if I can call it excessive, because it is allowed, is recommended, but it seems to be working for him. So it's interesting to see a style that you may not imagine seeing when you come to a competition. When I woke up this morning, I didn't expect to see a young kid climb with his hands quite this much on a dry tool route, but he's quite high on the route.
Yeah, looks like he's about to top out there, and
Yeah,
that last hold looks quite substantial. I'm interested to see whether he's going to choose to use his axe there or if he's just going to grab it with his hand.
Might just be a dyno.
Oh no!
And
He slipped off right before it.
might be a little bit bitter about that. It's certainly not uncommon for, well, on any competition route, the final move is generally the hardest, should be the hardest. That way, if only one person finishes the route, then you know that that truly is the winner of the competition. But yeah, it's not uncommon to have it be so difficult and to lose it, and for any competitor to think that they have it and then lose it like that is a little bit, I can imagine it's a little bit disheartening.
And we probably have our next girl here getting ready to start immediately afterward. Yes, we do. We have number 12, Selina Bouchard of Switzerland. She's going in quick through the ice section as well, ready to get on that route. Selina Bouchard is 15 years old. Let's see how she moves through this. See if she can make it further than previous competitors or... Yeah, making good progress there. Really making sure she can trust her placements before she makes any moves here. It's definitely key. You want to make sure whatever placement you have on the wall is good and stable before you move the next body part.
Moving through the ice sequence.
Yeah, no,
Should be quick and simple.
doesn't seem to be having too many issues other than the large pieces of ice breaking off under her feet. All right, and let's see how she does back on this transition back over to the wall.
Looks like she's having a little bit of trouble getting solid foot placements.
And she certainly has some wind picking up there as she's climbing.
That's
so
right.
I'm sure that adds to the pressure.
It's a very interesting aspect of dry tooling on a wall like this, being able to basically place your feet anywhere securely with these competition boots. You're using monopoint boots, and if whatever angle you decide whatever place you want to place your feet. All you really need to do is kick. A little bit of slip there, but solid hand placements, and she matches on the hold.
Yeah, she's about to make her second transition from the ice back over to the wall.
Great job. She's got about 2 moves before this becomes a bit more difficult. By this time, she might know that she's got to get her weight shifted out. There we go.
Yeah, she went for that shift much more quickly than
That's right.
the past 2 girls that have made it to this point. She knew that's what she needed to do, and she went for it. All right.
Get her feet out to the left a little bit. Force her weight to the right so she can pull down into the right. She's doing really well. She's got that small hold. That's the iffy one.
Let's see
She's
how.
got it matched.
Okay.
Match on the hold and choke up on it a little bit. And if she can get the next one.
Nice.
The next one, I'd like to see that hold. That is a seriously difficult hold. I believe it's a piece of steel with some bevels drilled in it. So it's quite slippery. If it's the hold that I'm thinking of, it's quite easy to slip off of. So quite a difficult placement. But she did great.
That was a great job.
Yeah.
All right, so we have our next male competitor here, number 58, Gorev Maxime of Russia, getting ready to get on this qualifying route here.
We'll see how he holds up in the snow and the rain. Getting into his starting position, and he's leaving, climbing up the ice easily. We might expect him to.
So some of our climbers that are competing here on the lead were also in the speed routes. Some of them weren't, as I'm sure you have noticed with the names we've said. So some of these guys we've already seen earlier today.
Maxime did quite well in the speed, although I think he had 1 or 2 slips. He certainly showed that he's able to climb quite quickly.
You can see he's struggling a little bit on how to use this hold here. Can't quite figure out where to hook his tool to get that balance, and
it's an interesting hold. It's quite a different angle to hook at. Certainly not a basic hold to start on the route. Then again, that might just be his creative interpretation on how he wants to climb the route.
yeah, there's usually not only one way to climb a route.
That's right. As we've seen, you can do it with your hands too.
Right, definitely. And even beyond that, of course, just as in any other sport, you know what your own personal strengths and weaknesses are, and you're going to highlight your strengths and try to make up for your weaknesses using those strengths. So if you know you can use certain holds better than others, that's the ones you're going to aim to use, and that's where you're going to take your rests.
That's right. One of the enjoyable things about climbing in a competition like this is that you put yourself in a mindset where you can ignore, where you're attempting to ignore everything else that's going on around you and focus on the one thing that you need to do, which seems to be quite a recurring theme in climbing. But in competition, that's the goal. There's no scenery to admire or, anything like this in a long that you might find in other routes. You have one goal, and that's to climb, and you know that it's going to get harder and harder. So do whatever you can and be as efficient as possible. A little bit of a slip there. A big reach. He's got to slow down and pace himself. I imagine he's starting to feel some burn, and there he goes. He slips off the hold. Might not be thrilled about that, but he did a great job.
And we can see here from where we're sitting, the next female competitor is getting tied in here. So we still see shots of Maxime here after his route, after his climb. Here's some shots at the beginning of Maxime's climb still. Okay, so up next for the women, we have
Tilde Kuikanvirta from Finland, our only Finnish girl in these qualifying routes for the dry tooling.
And Tilde started climbing 2.5 years ago. She's mainly climbing indoors, doing bouldering and leading in Helsinki. And she actually just started dry tooling last autumn with Annie Bertling, who we probably know. Yeah. Most people probably know.
At least from Finland.
Yeah. And then also with Pauli Salminen. So that's who she's really been working on her dry tooling with, and tells us that she's very grateful for all the guidance that they've given her.
That's right. Some incredible mentors to have as a young person.
Certainly. And this is her first ice climbing competition, so she's competed many times indoor in bouldering and leading and things like that, indoor climbing, but this is her first dry tooling outdoor ice climbing competition. So I'm sure she's very excited to be there. I'm sure she's quite nervous and excited to have Annie here watching her, and probably wants to show her best game face here. That's and right. Put in her best effort.
Some well-decorated tools. it's really great to be in Finland and to see this somewhat small community of dry tooling and ice climbing folks come together and really be great mentors for the young folks that are coming in. We have Enni Bertling, who is in the south, and here north of us in Rovaniemi we have Mira and Tapio Ohansuo, who have given a dry tooling course to the youth here in Finland. So
yeah, it's really starting to take off, I guess, as
that's right.
more of a hobby, and especially among indoor climbers. There's
Yeah.
a lot of indoor climbers that are starting to get, or not indoor climbers, but rock climbers that are starting to get more interested in not only ice climbing but testing out the dry tooling. And
that's right. They've been trying to build a prevalence, and certainly between Enni and Mira, Tapio, and others, they've really been working on getting folks involved and just being good mentors. It's great to see. Slowly checking up on the tools.
yeah, and let's see how Tilde does here on this, or with this hold that's been causing trouble for the other competitors. Let's see if she has any.
She's got her
Any
right
tricks?
tool on
Oh.
it, and she's slipped
but
on it,
she-
but she's managed to stay. We'll see if she can get a good placement.
Yeah, she still has her
And
left.
it might just be a small one. But it's
slipping.
tricky, there's no doubt about it.
Oh, she's gonna
She
trying to
might
go
need
for skipping it.
She can swing out.
Oh wow! Oh, that was close.
She's got the time to do it if she's got the energy.
So this is a perfect example here of really highlighting your own strengths, but she's giving it, and a slip off. Yeah, that hold seems to be really,
It is.
really, it's a tough
small
one. Mm-hmm.
It's quite thin, and when you get the tip of your tool on it, I mean, it's just any rotation. You need basically a claw at the end. If you have anything pushing your weight away from the tip where it can rest, where your tool rests onto the hold, it makes it easier for it to push off, especially as you raise your tool away from the wall. It can pry it out. You can see. And even with these highly specialized tools and blades, it's still incredibly difficult.
No doubt. But that was a great effort from her, and we're going to be moving on here to the next male competitor. Okay, so next we have Keenan Griscom of the US, number 66. So another United States climber here. Definitely the bulk of our competitors here, of course, with proximity to Finland. We have a lot of Russians. We have a fair amount of Finnish competitors today. Surprisingly, a fair amount of competitors from the U.S. as well have traveled so far to come here to Finland to compete. Keenan's been keeping his gloves warm inside of his jacket, it looks like. That's definitely a trick in this field, I'd say, of a good way to keep your hands and gloves warm. You don't want to keep your gloves out somewhere in a backpack letting them get cold before you have to get on a route.
That's right. It's not uncommon for people to even keep their handles of their tools in their jackets at times.
Yeah, the cold really affects the way that your muscles are able to recover, and with how much you have to be gripping your tools while you're climbing, you want to keep your hands as warm as possible.
That's right. On the flip side of that, cool muscles are the most efficient. However, too cold, and you start to lose dexterity, and can be a bit difficult.
All right, so Keenan's off on the route here, getting through the ice portion very quickly. All right, he's making his way up really quite quickly here, not having many issues figuring out how to place his tools, and it seems like he's really trusting his feet and hands as he's making his way up.
Knees are a little bit shaky.
Taking a little bit of a rest here, it seems. Oh, and he's going to go for the hand hold as well instead of the tool.
If he can get his feet in, it's potentially not a bad call.
Interesting strategy coming from these male climbers here.
That's right.
But if it seems like the best way to hold to make the move, then
It's true.
what do you got to do?
And it's very likely that they'd be able to do it otherwise, but efficiency can really make a difference in a competition like this. So
Right.
anything to save your arms a little bit, anything to simplify.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and if it seems like it's going to take you a lot of time and effort to make the placement with your tool, and you know you can do it easily with just your hand, and move through it.
On the other side of that, you've got to manage your tool. You can't just drop it, you have to keep it in your mouth, or there he goes for a long reach on the Stein.
Let's see if he can make this last move. He'll be the first.
He's got to move up, and he's got to get the dyno.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Nice. First one to
And a
finish the route. Nice job.
A finish from Keenan Griscom from USA. Congratulations, Keenan.
And you could really see there from his finish that last move, even though the hold might have been pretty good, it's a dynamic move. So it's not as simple as just placing your tool on that next hold.
That's right. There's a lot of commitment to it, to the move, so
you really have to trust that you're going to be able to hold it once you make the little bit of a leap for it.
a lot of climbers who come into these competitions knowing that they have to be well versed in different types of moves, and be able to climb different ways and adapt to the route. And so I assume that he would know or think that there might be a dyno, and when you kind of get to the top of this route, you look at it and think, okay, that's what I need to do far before you get there. You kind of know that the route setter might have something like that in store for you.
And we have our next competitor already tying in here on the female route. A shot of Keenan looking super pleased after his climb. I don't blame him. I'm sure that felt amazing to make it to the top. All right, so our next climber here, we have Daria Glotova on the women's side. She is a rock and ice climber, super passionate about it. She's moving on to the non-ice portion here, making that transition smoothly. Okay. All right, she's not seeming to have any issues so far, making smooth, deliberate movements here, working through the route at a good pace. Had absolutely no issues with that transition over to the ice.
The first ice sequence, on to the next. Looking for a spot to place her tool. Can't seem to figure out where the opening is. Just scratching at it a little bit. It's tough. There we go. She's found it now. It's easy to second guess yourself on a move like that. When you scratch at it for long enough and something finally catches, you can load your weight slowly and really just only hope that it's going to stay together, that you don't slip off. Daria Glotova made it through both ice sequences. About halfway through the route. She knows she's at the point where she's got to get around that corner. Making the move onto that next piece, and she's got it. Furthest so far.
Yeah, she really pushed through that.
Well done.
She knew how to use the placement and push through.
Great adjustments with her feet. Moving up every time. Just smooth. Looks like she doesn't have too much difficulty.
No, and she's looking really relaxed still. You don't see her shaking much, and she's so close to the end now.
She's got a big hook on that.
Yeah, good. That's how let's see how she feels on that last move.
Oh! She either lost part of the hold, she lost something. I don't know what it was that fell.
All right, and she made it to the top.
Wow.
Great. Really, really interesting to see back-to-back on the men's and women's first to finish the qualifying route.
Congrats, Daria.
Really nice to see someone push through those holds that other people have slipped off of and see that they are usable if you can make it work.
What a climb. Props to her. I imagine it's not supposed to be easy.
But she made it look quite relaxed, I'll have to say. She did not look like she was shaking too much, getting too pumped up there. She was focusing on what needed to be done and just making the move she had to make. Confidently and calmly. All right, so we have our next competitor here getting rope tied in.
It's a little bit hard to tell who's going to be next without their jacket off.
Yeah, for some reason we don't have a list of the order here, an updated order list of the competitors, so we are waiting to see which number each competitor has before we give you too many details. Don't want to put our feet in our mouths too often.
That's right. We can guess all day at who it might be, but we won't be sure until they take that jacket off.
So now we have Artem Shevarev, who was also there on the speed, I believe. Looks like he's ready to get going. Yep, started that ice section with a little bit of that speed style, just hopping right onto that route.
And that sort of stuff isn't much of an issue for those guys. Mm-hmm. But the dry tooling is certainly a bit different, so we'll see how he performs.
Jaha, katoppa.
Slow placements, but looks steady so far.
You can tell he's fighting a little bit here to make sure his placements are stable. Struggling to get that foot on that volume there.
Good side pull. Big reach to the next hook. Doesn't make it look difficult, that's for sure. We'll see, will he use his hand or is he going to place his tool?
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he's going to go the...
There we go.
Oh, looks like he's at least initially going to go for the tool instead of the hand.
That's a tough one because as you can see, the tool is in at that angle and down exactly for that reason is why it's a difficult hold. That tool needs to come in and be perpendicular to the wall. If it's not perpendicular, if that angle is smaller than a right angle with the wall, then it can slide out of that hold right there, and then you're out, as you can see.
Yeah, those angles are really the key here. Making sure you have the right angle of your tool to the wall with the hold. We just had a reindeer show up here at the site. Come say hi to some of the
I hope he
audience
comes
members, I
inside
believe.
and visits us.
Yeah.
We can keep him warm in here. All right.
Yeah, we're inside of this glass box, missing all of the action outside.
Some aspects, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you also miss the snow.
Heartbreaking. But, you know, that's why others have used their hand right there. It's a long reach, and that's what you have to learn when you're learning this discipline of climbing, is that it's just a lot of control. You know, you place the tool, and then you have a grip on it, and you have to continue pulling at a particular angle from a particular place, even as your body moves and shifts upward.
So all right, we have our next competitor here tying in.
Number 1. Is it?
All right, number 11, Daniella Naumov of Russia, who was also in the speed rounds. We saw him compete earlier, so we'll see how he does here in this lead competition in the dry tooling. So he's ready to get on the route right now. Let's see. Yep, starting speed climbing style here on the ice portion, as most of the speed climbers have done. Will be interesting to see if he chooses to go the tool route or the hand route here. And so again, this is Daniella Naumov of Russia climbing here.
Looking like he's struggling a little bit to get onto that next piece. It's a Stein pole, and he's having a hard time hooking it.
Looks like it's a little bit of a reach for him there. I wonder if he can place his feet a little bit better and make that reach. There he goes. Oh. There you go. He was able to get that hold and get use of it. Hopefully he didn't waste too much energy making that move. Oh, and a slip off.
Rough.
It can be really difficult to recover once you've put so much energy into one move, and if you're still not 100% certain about it, then...
That's right. It's far from uncommon to perform in a competition like this and get to a point where you know what the move should be, but potentially you haven't set yourself up in the right place to make the move, or maybe you just haven't practiced this move enough and you aren't sure of it. So maybe you try 3 times, and whether you get it or not doesn't really matter as much as how much energy you waste in the process of attempting it. Because you might get it, but then can you make the next move? Great effort for Daniella, and we'll see which girl we have up next in the under 16 dry tooling.
So this is Olga. So next we have Olga Vilexanina of Russia. She's going to be attempting this dry tooling route here for the qualifying rounds. Be interested to see if she can make it to the top like our last competitor, or which holds are going to give her an issue here. And we have not seen her yet here in this competition. She was not in the speed round.
No, I believe she did compete in the speed round. She competed in the semifinals and didn't make it to the next round or the finals. So we'll see how she does on the lead. or not lead, but dry tooling. So far, smooth moves.
Yeah, no issue on that transition over from the ice.
Going for the upper grip on her tool and finding the best placement.
Yeah, I think this is the first tougher hold here.
You can see in that photo, in that picture, of how small that hold really is. Might be 7 millimeters, quarter of an inch if you're in America.
We've seen that strategy before of trying to skip the hold. That doesn't always work out as well.
That's right.
It's a really
She's
long
struggling
reach.
with her feet a little bit, shaking. But now, if she's got in on the ice sequence, then she should be able to move through this without much of an issue.
Let's see how our transition goes back here. Getting into some of these tougher moves on this route with the weight shifts and making great use of those holds there. No issues at all in that sequence. Push through that very quickly. Pushing through this second and last ice portion with a little bit of a rest there, shaking her hands out. Interesting use of that hold.
Yeah.
A little bit of a different strategy of what we've seen from the other competitors so far.
Might make it a little bit more difficult to get her weight out on that corner. Well, she's got the placement there. She knows where she needs to be, so hopefully she can get that as well.
See if she can figure out where to put that right tool.
There you go. She's got it now.
All right.
It's a tough transition. That takes a lot of muscle. And she's made it so far smoothly. She's on that small piece.
Yeah, let's see how that next
On to
hold.
the next one.
All right, she got in a rest on that hold. It wasn't too tough for her.
Looks good. And a hook in the next piece and just a couple others. We'll see which one gives her trouble next.
She's looking confident.
Some tricky holds.
I heard timeout. Oh, yeah, she ran out of time.
Aha. I believe it's 5 minutes to the route.
So great job. Just ran out of time there right at the end, but really good moves.
Yeah, great progression.
So far we have one female and one male who've made it to the top.
And some others who've made it fairly close.
Yeah.
Great to see some folks make use of these small holds, especially these young kids. It's difficult climbing. it's pretty easy to look at the route and watch as you see 14-year-olds climb and think, yeah, I could do that. And, you know, give it your own shot and then realize, oh, it's not quite as easy as it looks.
Yeah, and especially some of these climbers do a good job of making it look fairly easy.
That's right.
Especially we were watching that speed round, and some of those folks were just zooming right up the wall.
Yeah.
No issues, no hesitations.
A lot of power, a lot of endurance. Pretty impressive.
So I believe next up we have...
Well, we'll wait to see the
Yeah.
we'll wait to see the shirt.
I thought I was sure, and now I'm not.
It's someone from the men's division, I'll tell you that much.
That much we know. Someone that hasn't climbed yet.
I'm gonna guess that it's an 88. We'll see. Caught a small glimpse under the jacket.
All right, looks like he's about ready to go. And it was an 88, in fact.
All right, so Daniella Andreyukov
From Russia.
from Russia. Getting ready, getting some blood to his hands in an attempt to reduce the pump that he will be seeing shortly. It's only 5 degrees below 0 Celsius here in Oulu today. So that's about minus 28, or not minus 28, but 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and pretty mild. Although the snow and the wind might be a bit distracting.
Yeah, I'm sure
It's-
the wind makes a bit of a difference here, for the climbers especially.
Yeah. But hopefully, no one is having any issues with their hands being too cold. I don't imagine.
A little bit
Going
of
for the Stein pull and a switch to his other hand with his tool. Scratching around, looking for tool placement.
Yeah, these holds seem to be a little bit tricky for most of the climbers, figuring out exactly where to place the tool.
And it can be because a lot of these holds you can't see. You know, if you're directly below, you won't know where the notch is for the placement of the tool. So you might need to scratch around and figure that out. If you're experienced, you might be able to just give it a shot, and a good guess might get you there. But that's not always the case. Ooh!
Oh, it's
A little bit strained on his left hand and went for the Stein pull. Might have slipped off his toe. Took a tumble. Hopefully he's not scraped up against the wall at all. It's hard to say. Sometimes these falls can be heartbreaking for the climber, but you never know how pumped they already are. A lot of times if you're pretty pumped, you know that you're at your limit, and so when you take that slip, it's not too much of a surprise. But if you're feeling good and you come off of that route, you might go home wishing that you had had performed differently. There it goes. Yep, that was his left tool broke loose, and then couldn't figure out how to place his weight, keep his weight into the wall so that he can keep it on his feet.
And we have right now Marina Tokarev from Russia tying in on the women's route. Sure, we'll get a shot of her here soon before she gets on the route. There she is, getting ready to give this route her attempt. All right, so Marina's there getting on the route here. Getting through this ice portion here at the bottom. You can tell she's really testing those placements before she makes any moves ahead.
It's not a bad strategy to have. So far, so good.
See if she can figure out how to use this little hold
There
that's
we
been
go.
giving folks some issues.
That's the strategy I'd go with. The difficult part with that is that you can't lift your tool out away from the wall. So you have to keep the force aligned with the wall and into it. As you move upward, you can't rotate that tool at all. Handle has to stay in place.
There she goes. Matching on that, perfect.
There it is. If I was climbing that, I'd probably be off the wall right now.
No issues here on the ice portion.
Transition to that metal piece.
Oh, yep. She's gonna see if she can skip that. Definitely a smart move if you're unsure. If you're unsure about that hold and more sure about the next one,
That's right.
it's better to keep moving.
Match and back onto the ice portion. She'll stand on top of the volume and see if she can get her weight out around that corner here in a minute. Great Stein pull. Standing on the volume now. We'll see if she can get her weight out around the corner. Doing well, she's moved quickly.
Having a tough time picking which hold to go with.
She's going to finish the route. She probably can't waste too much more time on that. She's got her weight out on it a little bit, but it's hard to commit.
Yeah, and from what we've seen from the other climbers so far, it really is just taking that, trusting that hold and leaning out on it.
Yeah, that's right, and it's
It's the only way it works.
the sequence to move your body out that way. You can't do it too fast. You know, you can't jerk on your tools too much, otherwise it'll rip them right off the wall.
She's making some really solid foot placements here.
Oh. And slipped on the small hold.
Right. Getting right into that tough sequence there. She is not the first one to have struggled on that small hold there.
That's right. Well, we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that we finally found the correct starting list for these qualification rounds for the under 16 age range. The bad news is that this group is pretty much done here.
Yeah, that was our final female
That was
climber
number
there.
6,
Yeah.
Marina.
So next we'll be going into the under 19 lead competition. I believe that they will have their route preview still beforehand. So we should have a short break here before the next round starts.
Tietääkseni ei, eikö tässä kiipeilijöitä pyöri koko ajan? Eikö tässä nyt ole minun mielestä on? Nyt just on taas, okei, sori. Joo, no niin. Niin, eli nyt on se hetki, kun sun pitää mennä syömään.
Sitten mä okei. Puolesta mun tauko.
Joo.
No, keep it low.
Joo, mikä alkaa seuraava?
Because it's helpful for work now.
Okei.
And also I replace this rope then to the roots.
Joo.
So
1922. Elikkä 1922 vuonna. Eli tuossa aina 10.
Okei, kello. Sori, mulla ei oo mitään. Alkaa tulla siitä.
Pakko Karna. Lastin on tänne teille.
Joo, mä tästä just puhun. Meillä on nyt 1,5 tunnin tauko.
Onko varmasti 13.30 on merkattu niinku toi reittikatselmointi, eli sitä ennen ei kiipeä.
13.30 on merkattu reittikatselmointi. Ja sitä ennen ei kiivetä. Tiedättekö? Nyt on 1,5 tunnin tauko, 13.30 on joku.
Oliko se SEHD? Joo, hyvä.
Miika. No joo, kiitos. Se riittää meille, niin me tiedetään, että me ei olla tässä. Pass.
No, sehän se oli, kun minä käsin ihan täysin löytänyt
Mä tuun sinne täpät.
Oliko sitten se ensimmäinen SE-vilkkuu, niin se siitä paineli monta kertaa, niin se menee niinku siitä tavallaan palas. Tai pitkään tai jotakin. Tää oli se hankalin juttu, että miten se palaa. Vesi virrauspuolesta silloin se palaa joskus siihen alkuun ja joskus ei.
Meidän tekijä kyseli hissiä tossa jo, että nostaa.
Ahaa.
Tarvii sitä.
Tää on kyllä sekundaarista siihen verrattuna.
Aika monimutkainen tämä näyttely.
Näissä on kaikissa kuule aika lailla säätämistä tekniikkaa. On joo. On, pitäis olla. Saat siitä hyvin kuvattua. Niin joo. Ja se on jäänyt jättää, niin se on varmaan parhaana. Ja siitä ei ole kenenkään. Joo. Miten hyvin noin toimii tämmöinen muovi? Pystyy ihan pelkään jättää täältä paljon. Joo.
Missä on se reitti?